Welcome back to another edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik. Let's just jump straight into it. If you remember the last time we mentioned that Zach Edey would undergo surgery for a left ankle injury that he suffered in an offseason workout that was announced by the team. Well, we got an update from the team saying that his surgery was indeed successful and he will be reevaluated in 4 months. So that will more than likely be sometime in October. So pretty much confirming what we already knew, which is that Edie is expected to miss the beginning of next season. I've already touched on this, but I don't think it's not a good look at all, considering Edie has had many ankle injuries, many ankle issues, even dating back to college. He said it himself. I mean, if you remember his rookie season, he missed about 12 games after spraining his ankle. So that same ankle that he's getting worked on. So just something that we're seeing. I mean, it's not uncommon. It's not an uncommon thing to see. We've seen many guys had these kind of surgeries. I mean, you look back at a guy like Steph Curry, who at one point people didn't even think would blossom into the player that he is now because he had severe ankle problems. And once he got surgery and realizing what shoes are for him and the way he reevaluates his game, he turned into one of the greatest players that we've ever seen. Now, this is not me saying that Zach Edey will be as great as Steph Curry, but it's saying that we've seen similar paths like this. So as long as the Grizzlies training staff does right and Edey does right to get what he can do to be back on the court, I say that it's really nothing to worry about. The only concern is who do you bring in or who do you put in place for Edey, because the way it's looking, Edie probably won't be back into the lineup until like maybe late November, early December, possibly. So that's a good chunk of the beginning of the season that he's going to miss from recovering. Then you have to account for the fact that he's not going to be able to train in the off season. He's missing training camp. He's missing preseason and the summer league. So that's a lot to take into account for Edie, especially as he tries to develop into a better player later in his career. So with that in mind, I do want to touch on who the Grizzlies could potentially bring in place as a center. But I mean, it's just in general. I think that we need a center as is, despite Edie's injury. That's just something that I felt like should have been done in the first place. So I've seen some reports that the Grizzlies could be going after some potential centers. Not necessarily saying that they're going after them, but just some potential targets. One being that strikes my interest is Walker Kessler. I've always wanted Walker Kessler on the Grizzlies. Even when he was coming out of college, I was a fan of Walker Kessler's game. He is a great rim protector, great at the pick and roll, essentially ideal for someone's team. Like a lot of people would love a player like Walker Kessler, and judging from the Jazz not really playing him nearly as much as he should, I would say that the asking price for him isn't even that much. I mean, let's just be honest. It's probably not much. You give him maybe throw in a first round pick. You can get him. I like the idea of having Walker Kessler, so I would hope the Grizzlies make some calls on that. Another guy that I've seen some people talk about, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I understand it. One guy being Brook Lopez, which I have no problem with Brook Lopez. It's just one has to think about the age concern. So I would say if you bring in Brook Lopez to play as a backup or kind of be in that backup role, I feel like that would be good for him. But and this is not saying Brook Lopez is bad, but I just feel like that age, if you're looking into the future, like if we're talking now, then sure, you can make that move. But if we're talking in the future, Brook Lopez, I wouldn't give up too much on him considering his age and when we could possibly see him regress significantly. Because Brook Lopez is still a top center in the league. I mean, he's easily a top five shooting big man in the league. That goes without question. So I think you have that in mind, but at the same time, you do have to account for the fact that of the other things, is he going to be as fast on defense? Is he going to be as wearing the offense? Like you just have to account for those things. So those are just some targets, and then obviously, somebody I think the Grizzlies should target personally, because there have been talks with the Grizzlies and Pistons talking. I would say the Grizzlies should make a call about Jalen Duren, see what the asking price is for. A lot of people say Isaiah Stewart, but I've already addressed my concerns with that. But I'd love the idea of bringing a guy like Jalen Duren to the team. But I'm not against bringing in a shooting big man. I'm really not, just as long as he can make up what Zach Edey did, which is rebounding at a high level. And I think, obviously, with a guy like Jalen Duren, you're going to get that. But, hey, these are all just hypothetical targets that I think the Grizzlies should go after. Only time will tell when we get some true confirmation on when and when if and when the guy even when the Grizzlies actually go after some of these players. But definitely should be looking into talks of getting a center, because you don't want to start the year off bad, especially with a new coach like Isolo in a new system. You want to get that system figured out then and there before the prime of the season, because that's when teams really have it figured out, especially going into the All-Star break. So Grizzlies really need to get on that if they want to see some success in next season. But just some other news, pretty much just kind of free agency talks. I've brought up the idea of Kevin Durant possibly coming to Memphis. But the news that we got, it kind of basically confirms that Kevin Durant, well, the Grizzlies will be out of the Kevin Durant sweepstakes once again. Simply because I'm reading a report right now. This is from Shams. The Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant's business partner Rich Kleiman are sorting through trade options with interested teams, mainly featuring Houston, San Antonio, Minnesota, Miami, and New York. So pretty much mostly bigger markets, I should say. So pretty much I would say the idea of Kevin Durant going to the Grizzlies, I wouldn't bank on it at all unless some surprise report comes out. But for right now, Kevin Durant to the Grizzlies, might as well call it a lost cause. I never really had true hope going into it. Obviously, it's a great thought, great hypothetical thought at that, to have Kevin Durant join alongside Ja Morant, but you can't get everything that you want. So I was never really big on the idea of Kevin Durant coming to Memphis, if just as far as it happening. Obviously, I'd love the idea, but it realistically, it happened and just it wasn't. It was a very slim chance. But while we're here, I read an article that kind of talked about who the Grizzlies should be willing to give up. And to me, I think without a doubt, and in the article, it basically just went straight to the point. Luke Kennard and John Conchar are up for grabs. But I kind of just want to touch on the fact that I think that anybody except for 5 players, and we've touched on this in the past, there's about 5, 6 players that I think on the Grizzlies are truly untouchable. Other than that, I feel like everybody should be up for grabs depending on the right offer. This is not saying in a situation where the Grizzlies should tell teams like, hey, we have no untouchables, or hey, we only have this, everyone else is up for grabs. Like, no, make sure you're not, make sure no one's like trying to pull a fast one and it ends up ruining the future, because the Grizzlies have made some bad trades in recent years and it hasn't really worked out. One being a Marcus Smart trade. It has not worked out. It didn't work out at all. Didn't lead to anything. So just got to be careful with things like that. Yeah, so I think without a doubt, Luke Kennard, John Conchar, and with this Zach Edey news, I know I was talking about Brandon Clark potentially being traded. I still think he is more than likely going to get traded, but with this Zach Edey news, I feel like the Grizzlies are kind of reluctant in trading Brandon Clark. But like I said, it's all depending on free agency. And what the Grizzlies, in what direction the Grizzlies decide to go in that position, because I truly do think if the Grizzlies want to seek success, Brandon Clark is not the answer to replace Zach Edey. That's just me being honest. And I love Brandon Clark. I love Brandon Clark. I love the energy he brings, rebounding, just straight up energy, offense, even defense. Brandon Clark is a great energy guy, but if you're asking him to replace the work ethic of Zach Edey, then I just feel like you're just not asking to, you're not trying to win. That's just how I feel. You're not trying to win. So hopefully we see the Grizzlies really go after some good targets and be willing to trade some of these pieces that we've seen for years, but we know for a fact will not lead to anything. It's okay to give up on some experiments, especially ones that you know for a fact aren't going to hurt the team. I truly don't think there's a world where John Conchar and Luke Kennard leaves and the Grizzlies lose 10 less games. Like, that's not gonna happen. To me, that's just not happening at all. So yeah, that's all I really got for today. It's not really much going on right now. Just a bunch of rumors, except for the Zach Edey news, which is something we'll be tracking all throughout the all season because obviously the Grizzlies have one of the worst injury bugs in the league over the course of the past 2-3 years. So definitely something to pay attention to. Obviously, all season goes by with the finals and everything. We're gonna find out more, especially with the draft and free agency coming later this month. So, well, not the. I believe the draft is this month. I could be wrong, but a lot to think about, a lot to go into it. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and a comment. I will be checking the comments, see if I can respond to any of them. Definitely give me your opinions. Make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get the next notification for the next video. Until then, my name is Malik, and y'all stay blessed.